Right, thought it was about time that I made this video. Been putting off YouTube for quite a long time. Obviously been doing the short videos, TikTok, Instagram for quite a while. But yeah, haven't really made the time or got around to doing the long form, so yeah, thought now was a good time to start. So how I got into being a personal trainer slash fitness coach. So for me with my own fitness, it kind of started from the insecurity that I had. Back 2021, I got into the gym. It's about four and a bit years ago. And yeah, for quite a long time, just very insecure about my body, which it kind of been that way for quite a lot of time through school. It was only till when I got into college, I think it was my second year at college, that I actually started going to the gym, because again, that was something that took me a long time to actually do, because I'd been thinking about it for quite a while, but was nervous about going, just from that insecurity, from thinking that like people are going to judge me, that I wasn't in good enough shape already to go, which is kind of stupid, because obviously the only way that you're going to get in better shape is by going. But yeah, it took me a long time to actually start going. But yeah, started 2021, and it was the best feeling to start seeing actual like improvements and changes in my body. I'll put a picture on screen of where I was before I started, because it was back in the COVID days that I started doing a little bit at home, just home workouts here and there, nothing really consistent. But yeah, it's when I started going to the gym that I started seeing actual changes, and yeah, definitely built a lot of confidence through that. And anyway, so this was the time when I was at, like I said, second year of college. Was pretty keen at that time to go off to university. Was kind of ready to move away from home, just go and do something different and be somewhere different. So yeah, 2021, September, went off to university, studied sports science, kind of through like school, college, uni, didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So I just followed kind of sport, fitness all the way through. And yeah, went off to university, did sports science, hoping that it would kind of like lead me at least somewhere, because I thought that the course, it seemed pretty broad, so it gave me quite a lot of options for where it could take me. So yeah, it was only really towards the end of the degree that I wasn't sure where I wanted to go with it. Just decided to qualify as a personal trainer. This was in, I think, I want to say the May. Was it May? Or it might have been a bit earlier. It was that towards the end of that last year that qualified as a PT. Then it was when I came back home, started working as a PT. Yeah, it kind of went from there. So I started working as a PT, picked up a few clients. Did take a while to get started, obviously, because I didn't have those case studies. I didn't have examples of people that I'd already trained. So obviously people are probably going to trust me less, and naturally I was always the skinny guy anyway. Still think that now when I look in the mirror sometimes, but I just had this desire that I wanted to help people get in better shape, because from where I started and building that confidence, it's something that I wanted to help give to other people, and that's kind of what I've stuck to ever since. But why I really wanted to make this video was to kind of talk on a deeper level about why I do what I do. I know there's a surface level answer of, yeah, I just followed it all the way through school, but yeah, I think there are definitely like deeper things that drive me to do what I do. So you might have seen the recent video that I put out about my brother, where he was in hospital. Now, fortunately, he's out now. He's recovering slowly. But yeah, it was 10 years ago, 2015, March 2015, that he was diagnosed with a terminal brain illness. Now, for context, growing up, he was a fit and healthy lad. I'd say we had a pretty like normal, as far as you can call normal, childhood. We had that classic kind of brother love-hate relationship. It was kind of around, I think it was 2014, that we started kind of noticing changes in the way that he was behaving. I know at school it was like his handwriting was off, and just little changes in his behavior, which seemed weird. So it was actually around, I remember one memory just kind of sticks in my mind is when I was out with my brother Toby and my dad, but we were I think we were out playing football somewhere, and we would kick the ball one way, so we were like in a massive triangle. We'd kick the ball in a certain direction, and Toby would suddenly run off in the opposite direction. We'd be pointing one way, he'd just run the other way. That was kind of something that, stuck in the memory, because it wasn't long before he ended up being diagnosed, because he went off for a brain scan, because we needed to get to the bottom of what was going on. So it was March of that year that the results from the test came back, and they found something called adrenoleukodystrophy, or ALD for short. And basically what that is, I'll do my best to explain it, it's a terminal degenerative brain illness. At the time, this was 10 years ago, he was only given 6 to 12 months to live, which came as a shock. Obviously, because he'd been that fit, healthy kid growing up, that something like that could suddenly come on, and suddenly that we're given that short time frame of that's all we've got left with him. So after this happening, we reached out to Make-A-Wish, because obviously they help families with children with life-limiting illnesses. Toby had always been a big Barcelona fan growing up. He'd love Barcelona. He'd always have quite often he'd get the shirts, and always a big Messi fan. So Make-A-Wish, they got us tickets to the 2015 Del Rey final. Again, I'll put any images on screen of that time. They basically gifted us I think it was a 4-day trip to Barcelona. Had a long weekend there. So we saw Barcelona play Sevilla. We saw, if you're into football, Messi, Suarez, Neymar, that peak Barcelona team. And such a good experience. Again, there were things at the time going on with Toby's behaviour where he did get angry at certain, almost like an OCD type behaviour. He'd get angry at random things, and I remember being in public, he just little weird things going on in his behaviour. I remember we were in the Barcelona store I think it was at the stadium, and he really wanted this signed football, and I don't think Mum and Dad were going to get it initially, but Toby was kicking off. There was something that he wasn't happy about, so he was kind of making a scene of it. As I look back now, it's hard to remember other times when stuff like that was going on, but he would kind of kick off and these things would happen. But anyway, we had that time in Barcelona, and after that diagnosis, it definitely made us realise that we had to kind of appreciate every moment we had with him, because we didn't know how we could lose him at any moment. We didn't know how long we had with him, so in a way we had to kind of just do as much as we can. Fortunately at the time we had quite a lot of people around us to support us, but kind of with his condition it did slowly deteriorate. So like I said before, he was a fit, healthy young lad. These changes in his behaviour started appearing, and it did slowly mean that he, progressively, he lost the ability to walk. He eventually was no longer able to eat food himself. His talking went as well, so he just lost that kind of communication. So it kind of ended up being that he needed a wheelchair to get around, needed carers with him a lot of the time because he wasn't able to take care of himself, just to do the basic things. And over the past 10 years, there's been definitely a lot of ups and downs. Fortunately, like I said in the video before, he has been stable for quite a long time. There was a point, I'm not sure when it was, but he was just drugged up so much that he didn't seem like entirely with it. He was, yeah, I think definitely over medicated, but he's on a lot less now, and I think it's definitely benefiting him. There is usually something that will come up, like the kidney stones that he had recently that caused the infection. There's always something like that that comes up kind of every now and again. Every single time he seems to make it through. But yeah, fortunately he's doing well under the circumstances. 10 years old. But going back to the time when he was diagnosed, obviously I'm his brother, it's a genetic thing. They had to test me as well to make sure that I didn't have it. So they did all the scans. I don't know how it works in the brain. They found the same condition there in my brain, but somehow, I'm not sure what like the odds are. I don't think the odds are very big. Like, it's very unlikely that it could have stopped, but they found in my brain that it had, they called it like arrested, that the condition had stopped in my brain, which must have been at a young age. That first time, because it was in Bristol, we had, well, I had the scan. I think it was May of that year. Wasn't a nice experience. So I had the scan. They found that it had arrested somehow. Then one of the consultants, I remember saying when I was in a room with him that I could end up in a wheelchair when I'm older, when I'm 50, 60, which I don't think I really like comprehended at the time. I didn't really believe it. But yeah, it wasn't a very nice experience going to Bristol that first time. But then after that, one of the other tests that I had to have, which was kind of related to the stuff in the brain, was adrenal function for something called Addison's disease, which is apparently common and linked with it, which is basically where your body doesn't produce cortisol. So from those tests, they found that I have the Addison's disease, so my body naturally doesn't produce cortisol, which obviously your body needs when you're stressed or you got stuff going on. Like, without it, you can't live. So they found that basically I had that. My body doesn't produce cortisol naturally, and it's kind of been since that time been taking medication for basically every day, and I will be for the kind of the rest of my life. For 3 times a day now, I take that, and yeah, that was something that for a long time I was kind of in denial of. I didn't want to have to take this medication for my whole life, but yeah, eventually it was just something that I kind of came around to having to accept, and it is something that you get used to. I do remember being told at the time that with Addison's disease, it makes it harder to. I don't know if it makes it harder, but they say that it's something like it's harder to do strenuous exercise. If you are doing heavy exercise, you need to increase your dose of medication. I think part of the reason that I was in denial is because growing up, I'd got my black belt in karate. I'd always been like quite fit. Never had any issues. But ultimately, like, the reason that I do what I do is knowing that I'm fortunate to be in the position that I'm in. I'm fortunate to be able to walk, to be able to talk, to communicate with people. These are things that I know could have easily been taken away from me, and the odds of me being in the position I'm in, like, as far as I know, they're pretty slim. And even now, like, I think about it sometimes that, like, my health, it's not something like, I can't take my health for granted, because I don't know if anything's going to flare up again. It shouldn't do, but it might do. So it's always kind of like with that in the back of my mind, that I just can't take anything for granted. I need to make the most of every day, every moment. And yeah, it's now just trying to help other people with their fitness. And it's not that the average person is going to suddenly like lose the ability to be able to move, to be able to lift weights. But obviously exercise is going to help you build that confidence. It can help you live more fully for longer. So that is kind of why I do what I do. There probably are things that I've missed out along the way, but I hope you found this valuable. I know attention spans are pretty short these days, so if you've hung around, then thank you. I'm not really sure yet what future videos I'm going to do on this channel, but I just kind of wanted to get this video out there to kind of share my story, where I've come from, because again, like I said before, the reels, the TikToks, they're all pretty surface level stuff, but I want to go like deeper on here. Maybe it's about helping people with the fat loss, maybe it's about more mindset, personal related stuff, but yeah, catch you in the next one.